Speaking of hair and teachers, this viral story of Mr. White allowing students to take down his braids has the internet in shambles. Take a look.
Last Friday, 10 minutes before dismissal time, I decided to live stream my students helping me take my hair out. There was quite the discourse in the chat, which had people saying this was inappropriate and other people saying this was completely fine. There was nothing wrong with what I was doing, and people were just making it weird.
Our class misses you so much, and we really want you to know that we love you and we miss you so much and can't wait for you to come back.
Do you see this as inappropriate, and should the teacher be fired out? What do you think?
I think firing is way too extreme. Because I think, to me, there are other ways to have the conversation with him on what was done incorrectly. Firing, to me, is if there was something threatening or unsafe in the classroom that occurred, and I didn't witness any of that in the video that I saw. What I did witness, which I think would cause a conversation or maybe as strong as maybe as a short-term suspension, is this is definitely a misuse of instructional time in the classroom, which is against his contract. And then the other thing is, if you're going to film kids for social media, young man, you have to make sure you get the kids' permission. And if they're underage, you have to make sure you get the parents' permission for their kids to be posted on social media. Now, those two veins, I think, are reason enough for a school system to say, hey, we need to sit down and have a conversation, and it may lead to some type of disciplinary action. But firing, to me, is definitely an overstep.
Agree. I think Black teachers make up like 3%. It's such a very small number. My brother's a teacher as well, and they're so needed to have Black male role models in the schools. And if it's not something that's harmful, I do think this is something that could a meeting being written up. There's other ways before, unless he's had multiple infractions against him where they were like, all right, one more thing, but it doesn't seem like that. We have a couple comments before we go to Armand. Vanessa House said, I don't think he did anything wrong. Yaya said, we need answers. Get that teacher on the show. I think we should. Production, we can try to reach out to him.
That's a good idea.
And H2O, I said, it's inappropriate, but a suspension is warranted. And Mixed Feelings said they touched him. His hands were on his lap. And this is a note. The students were all free. They had free time for 10 minutes while finishing, after they finished their work. So It wasn't like they was imposing on, instruction time. So that makes it even more like, Armand, what you think with all this?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And so he actually got permission from some of their parents for them to do that. They had free time, and they had the choice to either go outside or do something else. And some of those students actually wanted to do it. And some of the students weren't even from that particular class. So they just liked him. They like the vibe. I feel like he's an attractive guy. He's a young, cool teacher, and he's on TikTok. It went viral. And in 2024, we're always looking for reasons to be outraged by something. To me, this was not that serious. The guy was literally making content with his core students that he has a relationship with. They clearly have a relationship with him, and they're from different classrooms. They had free time. They want to spend their time taking their teacher's hair down for the quick TikTok video. No one had a problem with it until we get on social media and being fake outraged because it's an attractive young man and it's 5 girls taking his braids out. To me, I just thought it was not that serious. And for that man to get suspended, I feel like he could have been pulled into the office and had a conversation, but to get suspended, borderline fired, having to break down and cry and do all of this stuff, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Lisa Hickman said, too much intimacy for me. I'm an educator. We would never ask children to put their hands in my hair. Okay. And Plain Jane said he was texting the students and they were texting him. They love him and miss him. That's inappropriate. He needs to set boundaries with them because he's a superior in the situation. Do you think it's more looked down upon because it's a Black male teacher as opposed to a female teacher?
Oh, absolutely. You can go all over social media. You can go all over TikTok. You can go all over Instagram, where you see this happening in the school system with girls fixing or doing stuff to their female teachers' hair. And there isn't this type of outrage anywhere close to being in sight. So of course there's a difference. And I don't know why anybody would watch that video and want to sexualize anything that was going on in that video. I just don't understand it and don't get it.
And to add to that point, I feel like it's because he's young and hip. Some of these teachers that are saying they're educators in the chat, they're probably older. They're probably not as hip. So you automatically get demonized for being younger and hip and appealing to your audience or your classmates. I've seen his TikTok video. That's how he resonates with his class. He creates a good time. They have fun, but then he also creates structure in the classroom, and people like him. You got to understand, kids like to feel like, oh, my teacher's cool. I want to learn from him. I want to listen to him. And I don't feel like he's my parent, but I do respect him. And they just have that kind of bond. And I think that people are really blowing it out of proportion, because I remember being young and having certain teachers that I resonated with because they were cool. They never made me feel uncomfortable. They just understood me and knew how to talk to me to make me want to work harder and do better academically.
And when you like your teachers and you have a connection, you actually want to perform better. Like, we report almost weekly on bad goings on in classes where the kids are disrespectful to the teachers. They don't like their teachers. They're cussing them out. They're fighting them. This is like a nice moment, and now it's being sexualized and it's being made to look like a pervert move. And I don't see enough evidence that warrants that. Lil Lexus said, many people don't understand how grooming begins. He literally gave you so much evidence on his TikTok. And Ashante Thomas said, everything doesn't need to be on social media. He wanted attention also. It's a no for me. And Plain Jane said, yes, it's a double standard for sure. However, where are the boundaries? Other teachers will abuse this level of freedom and contact with the kids.
So sad. Where was all this energy? What I want to know is, where was all this energy, all this adding to the comments in the chat when a student broke a teacher's leg, when a student slapped a teacher's face, when a student ran over his principal? Where was all this, this is bad, this is where was all this energy that you have on what could be considered a team building exercise? Not saying that it is, but he's trying to relate to his students. He's trying to create an environment where these kids do something productive instead of not productive. Where is the energy? Where is it? I don't get it.
Well, it seems like it's we're being it's outrage, but we're picking and choosing. It's selective outrage, and I think it's three things are working against them. He's young, he's Black, and he put it on social media, and social media gonna make everything worse than it really was, or better.
It would be different if it was one girl. It was like 5.
Right. If it was like,
and they were rotating. You know what? He's right here in PG County. He's right here in Maryland. I wonder if I could find out, if I could get close to him and find out. Maybe we could just send him a direct message, right?
Let's work on that and try to see, because I love to hear from him. We got to go.